Welcome to the Tesla Power Podcast. This is where we're building the Tesla energy community around solar panels, solar roof, and Powerwall for your home. I'm Aaron Brady. Today, let's talk about the Tesla quarterly earnings call. Let's cover battery supply, battery chemistry, the HVAC product, and how it's developing. And let's talk about the overall Tesla residential energy business and how it's progressing. And I also think it's time that we talk about that Tesla bot. Is this going to be a residential product in general? Let's discuss. So we start with community input mostly, but this show is going to be dominated by clips from the earnings call. So get your input to me for the next one by leaving a comment below. You can link your own YouTube videos, or you can call 203-816-5150, or you can email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. For the bold and ambitious, you can record an unlisted video question in the YouTube app. Send me a link so I can put your video question in the show. First up, we have a clip from the earnings call. This one's going to be about battery production and how it's no longer a limiting factor in the automotive part of the business. Should be good news for residential energy customers, right? Let's listen.
So throughout 2021, we focused on growing cell supply alongside our in-house 4680 effort to provide us flexibility and insurance as we attempt to grow as fast as possible. As we sit today, cells from suppliers sort of exceeds our other factory limiting constraints that you mentioned, Elon, in 2022. Or to say differently, 4680 cells are not a constraint to our 2022 volume plans based on the information we have. But we are making meaningful progress up the ramp curve in Cato. We're building 4680 structural packs every day, which are being assembled into vehicles in Texas. I was driving one yesterday and the day before. And we believe our first 4680 vehicles will be delivered this quarter. Our focus on the cell, the pack, and the vehicles here is driving yield, quality, and cost to ensure we're ready for larger volumes this year as we ramp and next year. And the 4680 and pack tool installations here at Giga Austin are progressing well, with some areas producing first parts, and the internet has also noticed that. Yeah, I was touring the factory, the cell factory here yesterday. I'm super pumped. It's like a really exciting accomplishment for us to bring everything into one awesome factory here in Texas. Absolutely.
So where the automotive part of the business is no longer cell constrained, we aren't likely to see any benefit in terms of price or availability for residential products. And there are two factors driving this. First, commercial energy will be swallowing up much of the excess production from Megapack. And secondly, chips are still a constraint, and chips are used in power walls and power electronics for home energy products. So they do mention that plenty of chip production is coming online, so this should just be a short-term issue. But Megapack, on the other hand, it's really interesting. If utilities are going to really bulk up on battery capacity through the Megapack, we might find that residential solar gets a bit of a renaissance. And by that I mean, homeowners, they'll only need to keep a small amount of local power storage, potentially, right, to get through the occasional grid outage. We might be able to go back to the good old days of net metering, where residential customers can use the grid as a battery. Before we move on to the next clip, I want to make sure that I'm acknowledging Clean Technica for the visuals and for recording the earnings call. Huge service. I'm putting links and cards in the video so that you can go and you can watch these edited earnings calls on your own. You can hear, all the other things that Tesla is doing. They're not just working on residential energy, of course. So for this next clip, we hear a couple of mentions of the direction that they are going to take stationary storage. Let's listen.
It isn't like the ultimate form factor for all things. There's other form factors that could be better for an iron cell, for example. So
yeah, we don't use 4680 at all with the iron set-based cells.
No.
Okay.
So it's not immediately obvious that the 4680 isn't coming to residential stationary storage, but Tesla is pointing out that it's not the optimal form factor for all applications, specifically probably for storage, right? And since residential stationary storage isn't the priority, I'd expect that whatever form factor they have in excess, most likely the 2170s in my opinion, That'll be the form factor that continues to go into our power walls. So let's hear what they have to say about battery chemistry specifically. Here's another clip.
Yeah, to be clear, we do think that all stationary storage, Powerwall and Megapack, will transition to an iron-based system, basically a non-nickel system. Manganese is also, could be part of the future, but primarily iron. It just comes down iron, nickel. You need something that is formed in a star before a supernova, ideally. So, iron is. So there's a ridiculous amount of iron on Earth, as well as a ridiculous amount of lithium. So you can really expect all stationary storage to transition to iron over time.
So where we're not going to see the 4680 form factor and Powerwall, I would say it sounds like we're very likely to see the LFP chemistries, the lithium iron phosphate chemistries. I'm not aware of any cylindrical cells though with those iron chemistries. So these may not end up being 2170 cells. They could be the prismatic cells, but this probably doesn't matter that much to us as consumers. I guess it's possible that each Powerwall will either have a lower capacity, or maybe the form factor will need to increase a little bit. Maybe it'll have to be a little bit larger, but it's our best price definitely or our best hope, for lower prices in the future. All right, next, the team has waxed poetic on their home HVAC ambitions. Let's take a listen to that.
Thank you. The next question from investors is, since we're talking product roadmaps today, how do you view domestic cooling and heating in the context of accelerating the sustainable energy transition? And how might Tesla's HVAC and heat pump advances fit it?
You want to talk about that, Drew?
I think from a mission perspective, it's very aligned. If you imagine replacing natural gas, water, and space heaters with electric heat pumps, it offsets something equivalent to like 80% of what a solar plus Powerwall system would offset. So it's very impactful. And we have learned a lot about how to make capable and reliable heat pumps that work in all environmental conditions, and are excited about the idea of working on that problem one day. We put it that way. It's definitely aligned with our mission to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy.
Yeah, I think it really becomes quite a compelling solution to the consumer, where you integrate the electric vehicles, charging, solar, energy storage, hot water, HVAC in a very tight, compact package that also looks good. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, the integration of those systems in a house.
That's Lars, by the way.
Sorry. The integration of those systems in a house are no different than the integration of those systems in a vehicle.
Yeah.
The only difference is we do it all in a vehicle.
It's way harder in a vehicle.
And then
it's so constrained on mass and volume and energy. It's like you get to the house, you're like, wow. Okay,
kind of easy problem.
Yeah.
But obviously those systems are all just disparate, and what we've been doing with the Powerwall and charging solar is integrating them more and more. The next logical step is obviously HVAC and water and heating. So we will do that, and we will integrate it probably better than anyone has. But as you said, we have a lot of stuff on our plate.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously it integrates with your phone and phone app and everything, and then the car can, the house can just heat and cool things because it knows you're coming home. Yeah. Type of thing. It just doesn't need to be like randomly that temperature when you're not there, or
when the cat moves.
Yeah, exactly. Cat moves, exactly. So you just do sensible things and just work really well. I think it'd be just quite a game changer down the road. We got a lot of fish frying on it, and so it is a thing we will do, but we're not committing to a time frame at this point.
And people should do it anyway.
Yeah, if somebody else wants to do it, we are. Yes, please.
Yeah, it's super beneficial for achieving the goal here.
Yeah.
So my key takeaway here, this thing is years away. So anyone keeping an eye on the news knows that there have been some failures on the heat pumps in the cars driving in very cold climates. So it's not just a matter of it becoming a priority, but it's also a matter of them sorting out the limitations of heat pumps and figuring out what value they can add beyond other HVAC systems that are already available for homes using heat pumps specifically. Now, they do mention beautiful systems a couple of times, and I don't know, I'm supposing they'd go, in the minimalist rounded rectangle direction like they have with the Tesla solar energy products. Nice looking enough for sure. But I would say it's not any sort of significant influence for anyone I've ever spoken to about their HVAC decisions. The integration with the phone app, that does sound a lot more interesting. And if you can kind of automate that, then I can see a lot of value there. But, that is opposed to like solar, because it's a consideration for solar panels versus the solar roof. But the Powerwall and the power electronics, I don't think I've ever heard of someone picking Tesla because they like the way those look, I do love that Drew points out that the impact is about 80% of the offset achieved by solar and battery as well. That makes me interested since I'm only covering about 40% of my, current usage. It sounds like that might be able to bridge a lot of that gap. I'm not sure I need to wait on Tesla though. They even invite someone else to get this done since Tesla isn't able to focus on it yet. So I found that very amusing. The other thing that caught my ear was the total number of services that the HVAC product would cover. Drew Baglino mentioned cooling, heating, and the water heater. So I really only think of a heat pump covering cooling and heating. So I didn't think about it being something that would cover, heating water. But if that was all going to be integrated into this HVAC product, that'd be pretty interesting. So I should have thought about that since my hot water and home heating unit is the same natural gas on-demand heating unit for both heating the house and for heating the water. So it kind of is bizarre that it didn't occur to me. But if we were to convert to a Tesla HVAC system, I'm not sure I would move to the heat pump for both heating and cooling and for hot water. What I might do instead is look at something more akin to the microwave product that's intended to replace the on-demand water heaters. And I had mentioned one of them before. I should pull that up. So you guys might remember the Wavy product. Heatwave product. So Heatwave is in the UK where this market is much larger. There are a lot more people that have on-demand heating there. And the incentive to change those over to electric is much greater over there. They very rarely have like water heaters and stuff like that, or like the very large water heater tanks. But it's not offering products for sale yet, this company, but we will continue to keep an eye on it. And that's something I think that I would be more interested in than doing the Tesla HVAC for everything. There is a lot of question about whether it's going to be efficient enough. So maybe the HVAC system with the heat pump is still going to be the right way to go. All of that to be determined. So next, let's zoom out and look at the overall Tesla energy business. Let's see if we can infer a few things about the state of play, the direction of the Tesla residential energy business as a whole. Zach Kirkhorn gives us a quick overview. Let's listen.
And I should say, we did shortchange the energy business last year in that vehicle took priority over the energy side. So
not on cells, but on chips.
On chips, exactly. Yeah. We do see a very long-term, probably terawatt hour per year energy business.
Yes.
So a lot. It's very vast.
So that was Elon, and thank you again to Clean Technica for doing the visuals. It tells us who's talking, and that's a really, really great service. Again, putting links in the description and cards above. But coming back to the point that Elon was making, if automotive was starved of chips, then there would be no surprise that the energy division was starved of chips as well, right? So I love hearing the potential of this side of the business, that it's going to be vast, that it's going to be huge, but it would be even nicer to actually see that growth that this potential promises. So let's hear more about where they plan to focus efforts in the Tesla Energy business. Let's bring up that next clip.
It's a question of, does it double, triple, quadruple? I mean, either way, I think our plans are pretty ambitious for Megapack this year, and storage in general.
Yeah.
The exact amount of growth is hard to know. But ultimately, I mean, to Elon's point about the growth of this business, I mean, we need to be growing it faster than the vehicle business.
It will
Yeah.
actually grow faster than the vehicle business once we can alleviate the damn chip constraint, frankly. So it will grow like kelp on steroids, basically, down the road. It needs to.
So that one was mostly Zach Kirkhorn, and then of course Elon Musk chimed in at the end. The thing that I have to say about this is that the Tesla Energy business is still barely profitable. And that's to the disappointment of those that were looking for the Solar City acquisition to be a contributor to the bottom line. Most of us were looking for the solar roof to start moving the needle by now. I mean, it's a great product, but it's not the cash cow that the car business is. We can tell by Zach's comments that the money is in, that the money that they plan to make in Tesla Energy is going to primarily come from Megapack. And again, that should be no surprise, since it's their volume opportunity. It's a lot more work to get megawatts of solar and batteries installed into homes than it is to clear a field and drop in a shipping container sized, Megapack, right? However, I see a volume opportunity for Tesla to just make the solar roof components, the batteries, and the power electronics, and scale that production part of it and leave the installation to third parties. I appreciate that it breaks the service chain a little bit. So if Tesla, manufactures, installs, and monitors the systems that they've done the installation for, they can service them better, right? Or they can make service non-existent by making the product better. Over time, as they maintain their tight feedback loop between, their installers that are part of the same company and the product that they also engineer and make themselves. But, if it's the labor intensiveness of the solar roof that's holding them back, then it just might need to be the way forward. Maybe the monitoring is enough to give them that tight feedback loop to help continue to improve the product. It is really great news, of course, that Tesla Energy isn't cell constrained at the moment. It would be more encouraging if more chips were also available, so that was no longer a constraint. But if we're being honest about it, these pale in comparison to the labor requirement, and they're unlikely to allow volume deployment even when those constraints are lifted, when the chip and the cell constraints are lifted. I don't know. It's really interesting to me that the referral program focuses on residential energy. To me, that implies that Tesla is looking to generate more demand for these products than they currently have, and that they have a lot of room to grow specifically. I don't know. We discussed the labor, the regulatory, and the infrastructure constraints on the Tesla residential energy business all the time. So it'd be quite interesting to see what can be done to overcome these obstacles, more quickly and more efficiently, so that they can start scaling this business and make it a lot more profitable. All right, last up, we are going to talk about this Tesla bot. I mean, what the hell is this thing, and why is it now becoming a focus of the company? I don't know. Let's listen.
In terms of priority of products, I think I think that actually the most important product development we're doing this year is actually the Optimus humanoid robot. This, I think, has the potential to be more significant than the vehicle business over time. If you think about the economy, it is the foundation of the economy is labor. Capital equipment is distilled labor. So what happens if you don't actually have a labor shortage? I'm not sure what an economy even means at that point. That's what Optimus is about.
So I guess I get the long-term vision here. I mean, we got to be talking about a decade or more, or maybe a lot more. Okay, just for context, we got the Semi, the Roadster unveilings. Those were back in 2017, and we're still waiting for those products 5 years later. So can you imagine how long it's going to take them to get this bot into a place where it can be a scalable product? Those aren't anything profoundly difficult to bring to market, the Roadster and the Semi. The bot is going to be longer term than that for sure, and it'll probably be super expensive. I mean, if the Tesla bot isn't, I mean, they say that if the Tesla bot is not useful without its equivalent of the car's full self-driving package, don't forget that's 10 or 12 grand now on top of the car, or you can do, what is it, $300 a month? That's just going to make this Tesla bot insanely expensive. So maybe we're talking about $25,000 to buy the bot, and then another $100,000 for the AI software. I mean, that's what they're talking about doing with the this full self-driving software, that it would ultimately cost more than the car. I don't know. I mean, yeah, so that's the whole reason they brought FSD in as a monthly fee. So maybe we'll have the option of getting a bot for $25,000 down and then $300 a month. But that $300 a month forever? I mean, you pay your cable bill forever, so it's possible. So it's definitely in the realm of financial possibility for many households, here in the United States anyway. I don't know. Does that make this a Tesla residential consumer product? Maybe. Probably not at first, right? What would it even do in the home? Where would it go when it wasn't doing something? Are you going to have to have a closet for it? Or do you give it a bedroom? I don't know. This is just, it's so crazy. I can't believe I'm even talking about it, but, I don't know. I think the best point of reference I can conjure up is C-3PO. So I imagine this slightly jerky but very stylish housekeeper. I was asking the creative director wife what she would do with the robot. And, after talking about it for a little bit, she agreed that laundry would be the thing that she could see the bot doing. Laundry is such it's a chore. I mean, obviously, it's just such a hard process in our house, and it's the one thing that she would love to offload. The bot would take the laundry down to the basement, put it in the washer, put it in the dryer, take it out, fold it, put it away. I mean, that's just really complex stuff. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but I could barely get my 8-year-old to do that. Good luck to Tesla should they try to get their bot to do this. But I don't know what might be more to the point. I don't know. I mean, these are all, kind of centering around them ramping Tesla home energy products. So maybe that's where they can use this bot most effectively. It wouldn't be a consumer product, but it would be on their business side to help them scale the residential energy products, right? So earlier I mentioned that labor is a limiting factor for scaling the home energy business. I don't know, mentioned it probably about 5 times. So what do we think of Tesla being able to use the Tesla bot to design and install a Tesla solar roof? I don't know. The design portion of it, it doesn't even have to be a bot. That can be software only in most respects, right? The bot, would probably still need to do a home visit to assess the property and, gather data. All of that can be crunched in the cloud by, just the AI in on Tesla Dojo, who the hell knows. But when the installation and commissioning of the system come along, those are the things that we can see the bot doing to bring down the cost, maybe allow Tesla to scale the solar roof product faster. I don't know. Definitely not happening in this decade. I don't even know if I see it happening in the next decade either. We'll see. I don't know. But let's take a listen to what, I don't know, what Elon Musk thinks the bot might do first for Tesla. Let's hear it.
Thank you. And the first use of Tesla bot, whether it's in the factory or elsewhere?
Yeah, the first use of the Tesla bot, Optimus. The Optimus name seems to be sticking, at least internally. Optimus subprime. Yeah, like if we can't find a use for it, then we shouldn't expect that others would. So the first use of the Tesla Optimus robot would be at Tesla, kind of like moving parts around the factory or something like that.
So Tesla bot would be warehouse gopher, maybe forklift driver, packing and shipping. I definitely didn't hear him say roofer or electrician or site surveyor. So I'm taking this as confirmation that this Tesla bot isn't going to be anything significant for Tesla home energy product scaling anytime soon. I don't know. I'm not even sure what to think of this as a long-term investor, but yeah. There is a thing that I think is very interesting, and I want to make sure that you guys go and see this. So Stephen Mark Ryan at Solving the Money Problem, if you aren't subscribed to his channel, do it immediately. I watch it, and the guy's an animal. He puts out a video friggin' every day. I mean, he describes it as his full-time job. I mean, it is definitely a full-time job, but it's worth a look at this specific video for the long-term Tesla value outlook. He's got a very, very short video. It's only like 30 seconds long, I think, covering the Tesla bot, and it's just a very interesting thought experiment. I recommend you take a look. Card in the corner, link in the description. And that wraps the Tesla home energy mentions in this quarter's conference call. Let's take a break, and we'll look at recent production numbers here at the house. We'll look at the utility bill, and we'll share some good news from Frosty GT right after this.
Best practices are good, but they're even better when you put them with best principles. Since Bamboo HR was founded, we've looked for principles we believe will make our people and
I'm not sure where that sound is coming from.
better. And we found company
That's pretty awesome. Let's
work.
take a pause and I'll go figure that out. So that was some auto rolling video on Solving the Money Problems homepage. Thank you, Stephen Mark Ryan, for that. That was brilliant. So let's move on. So we've had another big snow this weekend. It's really last weekend now. When I wrote this, it was about a week ago. But it was enough of a storm to trigger Stormwatch in the app. And we stopped using the battery about 24 hours before the event, so it could charge up to 100% capacity. And let me bring up my phone. I'm just going to pause for a second. All right, so got my phone connected and streaming. You can see that after the storm, we switched to battery power, but let me show you where all this is. So if we go to energy, we'll look by day, and I've filtered by battery right here. We can go back a few days, and we can see right here is where we started charging the battery up to 100% during Stormwatch. And then the next day, you can see Stormwatch lifted at about 6 p.m. Or 7 p.m. Of course, we didn't even know all this was happening. We were still able to run our on-demand water heater through the night since it doesn't take an enormous amount of electricity to run. But you'll see spikes in electricity usage throughout the night. And it took me a while to figure out what this was. And that happens to be our electric baseboard heater in the basement. I think I've mentioned that before. But even driving that, we had enough battery storage to get us through almost 12 hours without the grid, which I find pretty impressive. I need to figure this out, though, overall, because this could have been a problem if we ended up in an extended grid down event. We may have even been in a position of running out of battery before solar production could kick in to recharge our battery because of this baseboard heater. So, add to that, the lower production that we've got this time of year, and it's possible we would have had the electricity. Well, we would have run out of the electricity we needed to heat our home throughout the event. So this is an argument, for a smart panel that would allow us to automatically shut off the baseboard heating when the grid went down. Tesla could help here by notifying us through the app when the grid goes down. I thought that I remembered them doing that before, but I don't know. I might be making that up. They do list off-grid events, which I love. It's of limited use though, right? We need the warning in the moment. It's not helpful unless you're actively looking at it. And I get that the span, let me bring that bit up. You know, the span, what is this thing? The electrical panel has the current market leading product for smart electrical panels in general. But some integration with Tesla could automate the electricity management portion of this whole thing, and it could ensure that non-essential circuits were cut during grid down events. So I think I'm going to add electrical panel to my list of what I think Tesla will add to their home residential energy product offering. Because if they've got, you know, HVAC, you know, power management through grid outage, all integrated, they're going to need to know what is using power, where to cut power, all that kind of stuff, and all that's probably going to be managed through the electricity panel. So maybe span is an acquisition target. It's possible. We'll see. I might need to add that, of course, to the future product roadmap thing that I do at the Tesla investor meeting every year. We'll see. I don't know. But let's take a look at my brother-in-law's stuff. Let's just make sure that the phone is still broadcasting. Of course it's not. So let's get that started. Start broadcast. And it's going to count down, and then we'll see it show up on screen, I believe. The real problem is that it just the phone goes to sleep and it stops streaming. But you can see we're using something that I use in my day job. This is the NDI app from New Tech, which is a broadcast and streaming company. Anyway, going back over to the Tesla app. Well, actually, we wanted to look at my brother-in-law's stuff. So let's pull up his. He's got his on a website. We were looking up some Mary Lou Retton stuff while we were watching the Olympics last night. Also stuff that I do in my day job. Anyway, so here's his app showing production, and you can see that it dropped off a cliff. When he's producing very well, like he is today, he's producing 17 kilowatts. He's catching up to my production levels already as the days start to get longer. You know, of course, that gets kicked in the teeth when it snows. So you can see his production curve for today, just rounded here. And you can see how choppy it is, and that's because the sun is still very low and ends up going behind a lot of trees and ends up covering up his solar panels. But his weekly production, early in the week when the snow fell, basically nothing. Waited 3 days for it to melt before he could produce anything significant. Of course, it snowed again, so it started going back down. And now today, we've had a bunch of rain. All the snow is melted, and he's producing at 17 kilowatts. And if we compare that to what we're doing today, of course, this is just the battery side of stuff. So let's go over to solar production. You can see that we have generated 14 kilowatts. So we're behind what he's producing today by about 3 kilowatts so far. Very interesting to see how his traditional solar panels compare with our Tesla solar roof. Of course, it's not just the product that is the differentiator between the two. It's the orientation of the roof, the time of year, yada, yada. All right, so I'm still about twice his production in the whole month of January. But I can see that he's going to be outproducing me handily once we get out of the snow season. We got our utility bill for January. Let me pull that up. It is $222. It's probably hard to see there, so I'll take it to full screen. $226.62. It's down from $418 last year, almost $200 less year over year, almost half the amount of money, which is pretty great. I mean, we love to see that kind of savings. That puts us cumulatively at $1,800 since starting to use the system back in, what was it, May of last year. So good to see. I mean, that's not a ton of money, but if you do, you know, $2,000 maybe over a 12-month period over the life of the product, which is 25 years, then we're kind of, you know, we're going to get, we should get there in actuality paying for the product. And then the last thing we hear from Frosty GT. He finally has his PTO. So congratulations, Frosty. Let's read your comment. So, quote, I finally got my PTO, 11.6 kilowatt system with 2 power walls, June 26, 2021. Physical and electrical inspection are complete. Took from then to January 17th, 2022 for my PTO. That's a long time, right? National Grid says their system designer made an error, then transformer upgrade, then net meter, and I'm finally on. I also got involved with National Grid myself. I got in contact with their solar connection department and National Grid's installation manager. I think he sped up the transformer and the net meter installation. I also filed a complaint with Tesla's supplied financing because of paying in full on payments complete for the system for months, right? So he's had the system for months. He's already paid for it. He's having to pay Tesla financing payments in the meantime. Anyway, the ice sheets coming off the roof can be concerning. I noticed my roof was clean same day, and my neighbor's panels took 5 days to clear, end quote. Saying a lot there, Frosty GT, but man, that's awesome. The solar roof does have a distinct advantage over solar panels since they shed snow and ice so well. I had an ice sheet shed after the last snowstorm, and it was really loud. It was like glass shattering and a freight train sliding off the roof. It was pretty crazy. The big news, though, is PTO accomplished, man. 6 months from installation to PTO is anecdotally about the average, from what I've heard anyway, from those that have been keeping me informed on their process. It occurs to me that I might do a poll on YouTube for Tesla Solar Roof customers to see, what those results show in the poll. It's not going to be a scientific poll or anything like that, but definitely will be interesting information, right? And huge congratulations to Frosty GT for finally getting PTO. I mean, I need to step up my game a bit. I just don't want to get aggressive like you and Kevin have had to get with your utilities and with Tesla, but I mean, it's probably inevitably what needs to be done to get it done. So, all right, I guess I'll go. But that will do it for episode 41 of the Tesla Power Podcast. You're, of course, welcome to use my referral code. If you go to the referral page to place your order, you can save $500 on a solar roof and $300 on solar panels. That referral link is ts.la/Aaron62310. If you click on those links to place your order, that's when you'll get your savings. Now, I'm Aaron Brady. I'm your Tesla Residential Energy Community Organizer. Let's do this again on the next video.